Bulunaka, do you know that cybercrime is becoming a growing problem in Fiji?
Cybercrime is defined as a crime in which a computer is the object of the crime, such as hacking and spamming.
Cybercrime is also cyberbullying and using fake profiles to cause panic and spreading false news.
If you're involved in this or know anyone who's committing these crimes, report them immediately.
I'm Polly.
And I'm Peter.
We host the Traffic Jam Show on City FM.
From 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. every weekday.
Do the right thing.
And Ravinaka, Fiji, in this bulletin, Lautoka city restrictions vigilantly monitored. Government works to ensure export market remains viable. And Prime Minister to work with religious leaders.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Edwin Nang.
Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama has made it clear that restrictions into Lautoka are for the safety of all Fijians. Bainimarama, in a national address, stressed that restricted access into Lautoka city will be vigilantly monitored by police. Since midnight last Thursday, anyone living within the city's boundaries will have to remain there for 14 days in light of the first 2 cases of COVID-19 at Lautoka Hospital.
We've received a number of requests from individuals seeking exceptions to our strict confinement protocols. I want to tell you all that there will be no exceptions be made, not when we're dealing with the issue of life or death.
The Prime Minister also reassured those confined within the city that essential supplies will remain stocked, with government agencies able to resupply where needed. Proactive measures have been taken to ensure there is sufficient supply of essential needs for the people of Lautoka. Police Commissioner Brigadier General Sithiven Ngilio confirmed a survey is being carried out to identify these essential items and how much is required. Ngilio has assured residents in Lautoka that supplies will be moved in once the assessment is complete.
We are working with the Consumer Commission. They'll look at doing their surveys within Lautoka area, the confined area, so that they can identify things that needs to be moved in.
The Commissioner has also confirmed they've allowed fuel trucks from Vunda to resupply customers outside of Lautoka. Economy Minister Aya Syed Kayum says they will be working to ensure that Fiji's export sector remains viable. With a 95% scale back of Fiji Airways international flights, there are discussions on how to ensure that farmers, exporters and business owners can work together to secure a regular freight schedule. Syed Kayum says given the volume of Fiji's exports, there is ample avenue to negotiate possible twice-weekly services with the national carrier to the United States, Australia and New Zealand.
We want to ensure that Fiji Airways is able to continue with freight services. There are many exporters, they export dalo, cassava, bindi, eggplant, all sorts of exports, yangona to LA. They go on the flights to LA, so we want those freight services to continue.
A lot of people are turning up at medical clinics with the common cold and influenza. Health Minister Dr. Ifiremi Wangainambete says a flu bug is going around and it's becoming difficult to differentiate between the common flu and COVID-19 as both have similar symptoms. Dr. Wangainambete says health officials are working around the clock to identify and isolate those suspected of having COVID-19. He says people must visit a doctor if they develop flu-like symptoms.
Remember, this is the flu season, so the symptoms are relatively similar to flu. It is very important that they are focusing on the task at hand and pick up those with a low tolerance who they suspect would have COVID-19.
Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama will be working with religious leaders to see how they can ensure faith remains a pillar of society as we combat COVID-19. Bainimarama says he recognizes that as Fiji works to contain the spread of COVID-19, one unfortunate but critical necessity is that churches, temples and mosques are affected by the ban on gatherings of 20 people or more. He adds in many countries the largest outbreak started in houses of worship where the virus spread from a single person to entire communities. He is urging Fijians to stand united. As the impact of the coronavirus continues to grow, the Fijian Competition and Consumer Commission is on high alert for fraud. Commission Chief Executive Joel Abraham has confirmed they've conducted search and seizures on 7 businesses. The FCCC says some businesses appear to be exploiting public fear about COVID-19 The Commission believes panic buying is posing a risk to supply chains, with supermarkets fighting against time to have their shelves stocked.
The rate at which people are rushing in to buy, that is causing a major disruption in the local supply chain. So supply chain again on timetable based.
Flour Mills of Fiji has assured there is sufficient supply of their products. Chief Executive Ram Bajikal says their line of products for the Fiji market is sustainable amid the 2 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Fiji. The company says Fijians need not worry as their products are unaffected by the global pandemic. Bajikal says shelves should be refilled overnight as their people are working overtime to carry out deliveries.
I would like to reassure the people of Fiji that they really have nothing to worry in terms of raw material stocks and other things here.
A number of hotel workers under the South Pacific Tourism Organization are expected to drop drastically in the coming months due to COVID-19. SPTO says there are currently 131,000 workers in 10 Pacific countries. Chief Executive Christopher Coca says the industry generated $3.8 billion revenue in 2018, but they're expecting lower earnings this year.
That translates to about showing that tourism is providing 11% to the region's GDP in this case, and employing about 131,000 people directly employed by tourism sector. So that is a lot, I mean, especially in contributing. So with the whatever is going to happen now, that will change.
Coming up, Fiji Sevens to continue Olympics preparation.
Oira na ngone na nonde inuni enda beisinga ni mataka.
Mersi sunga da kena loma dina kena mikron.
Sakena ngau na mitar lobi na nona baksa ngai ka wala loma taki na ngone. Dalabina oya o meliki.
Bulre oya o Samuel Samuli.
Nama kikirau enda bei mataka.
Boniti kena bakarombuka.
Ni boy tiri kalima na miniti me ono kina tiri na kaloko. Ena Radio Fiji One na ndobo ibiti.
Kina na mataka. Dan ramai na singabo.
Welcome back. National Sevens players in Lautoka are following their training programs. These players include Kalione Nasoko, Napoleoni Ratu and Waisea Nadungu, who will not be able to make it to Suva as Lautoka is in a lockdown at the moment. Fiji Rugby Union Chief Executive John O'Connor says the national side will continue preparations for the Tokyo Olympics, but at the moment the safety of everyone involved is paramount.
But they are allowed to move around Lautoka, so the management have given them the specific training programs that they can continue with training in the next 2 weeks before we make a decision in compliance with whatever government measures will be.
Preparations for the 2021 Rugby League World Cup will still go ahead.
The World Cup planning is still in place for 2021. But we certainly will be looking at the situation very about the COVID-19 and the international body is also looking at it, and we will make decisions accordingly on that one.
The Fiji Football Association plans to have more workshops for coaches with the guidance of national coach Fleming Seritslev. Seritslev briefed Fiji FA on his vision and went to Tahiti and Vanuatu to watch Lautoka and Ba play in the OFC Champions League. Fiji FA Chief Executive Muhammad Yusuf says the coach will have workshops.
We might take him across to Vanuatu, do the same, and after that we will get the youth coaches, the women's coaches, so that he'll tell them how to prepare the teams at district club levels, so that will help him at the national level.
2 tightly contested matches were played over the weekend in round 2 of the NRL. The Melbourne defeated Cronulla Sharks thanks to a Tui Kamikamica try, while the Manly Sea Eagles beat defending champions the Roosters 9-8. Rain and thunderstorms are forecast for Fiji. A flood warning remains in force for low-lying areas and small streams from Lautoka Devadeva Station to Raki town. A flash flood warning remains in force for all low-lying areas of Tuva, Nandi, Lautoka, Ba, Tavua and Raki catchment. A flood warning remains in force for low-lying areas and small streams from Vatukadeva station to Raki town. And that's your FBC Morning News. Remember to join us at 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. for our major bulletin. Also, social distancing is encouraged due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The advice is to keep at least 2 meters distance from others at all times. That's it from me for now. Have a good morning.
हमारे खूबसूरत देश फिजी में चाइल्ड अब्यूज की घटनाएं आए दिन बढ़ रही हैं।
क्यों बच्चों का मासूम बचपन अब्यूज का शिकार हो जाता है?
अपने बच्चों की सुरक्षा का खास ख्याल रखें।
उनसे बातचीत करें, उनके दोस्तों के बारे में जानें।
आज के बच्चे देश का भविष्य है। मैं दीप्ति
और मैं मोनिश,
आपके हमसफर। शामिल हो जाए हमारे साथ मंडे टू फ्राइडे
5:45 AM से 10 AM तक
रेडियो फिजी 2 देश की धड़कन पर।